The first project is the patio.
First thing we have to do is we have to get these steps out of the way so we can go ahead and stamp the whole area. Well, the good thing is we have screws, so we don't just have to come in here and start ripping this thing out. Okay, so now we just gotta get this swept off really good, and that's the most important thing before we do the next step, is to make sure the surface is completely clean.
It's a good thing you're sweeping. I'm not very good at it.
Yeah, well, I don't really sweep at my own place. Okay, so now we need to spray down this polymer, and we'll coat the entire area with the bonding agent. What that does, it creates a nice bond between this concrete and then the thin set we're gonna put on top of it. So if you wanna grab the rubber squeegee, and that'll make sure that it's evenly distributed around the concrete. You're helping knock it down into the crevices. Everything looks great. We're gonna let this sit and dry for the next 2 hours, and that'll give us perfect timing to go to the concrete place and check out the pattern that you want and get the stamps and get the overlay concrete.
We're renting or stamping molds by the day. But first, Janelle's got some decisions to make about color and style.
So basically, we've got this patio that's already got some concrete now. She wants to do a stamped concrete finish on top. It's a lot easier than what you might think it is. A lot of people think that stamping concrete is something that you would never try to do yourself, and as long as you get the right stuff.
Yeah, with this material, it's very simple to work with. With an existing patio, if you're gonna have already straight control joints or expansion joints, then you want something that's square to be able to help you hide those.
We're definitely not gonna do this.
No.
We're not gonna try to complete that pattern on a square patio. That wouldn't work out for us.
The square one looks good.
Okay, so that's the one you like? Now let's talk about colors.
Well, we have paver stones on the other side, and they're kind of the gray with the black.
Right.
So probably
Okay.
go with black.
We'll get the truck loaded up and we'll get out of here and get back to work.
Very good.
All right, thanks, man, I appreciate it.
Thank you very much. You can throw it in.
There we go. We have all the material here. First, what we want to do is we want to fill in this crack. You can use sand or some cement or whatever. What we're going to do is use the Quikrete here. I'll just pour some in, and if you want to start leveling some of that in there. I feel like I'm doing a lot of sweeping out here on this patio.
I don't sweep, so.
Yeah, I know, you tell me that. Okay, so first we need to mix up our material.
We're using thin set concrete to cover the patio. Then we'll stamp it with our decorative pattern.
What we want to do is we want to get this entire patio covered, and then we'll start the stamping process. And then we've got this gauge rake, and basically,
Like the squeegee?
yeah, but see, it's got the spacer here. So what that does is it makes sure you're level, just like that. We have a bunch more to do. There you go. Just gonna splash a little bit. Go ahead and pull it up all the way to the surface, just about. We found a dry pocket in there. We gotta get all those out.
How's it look?
I think it looks pretty good. This is something that most homeowners don't know about. It's a neat way to change the look of your outdoor patio. A lot of people have these concrete patios that they can't stand, but then they get out here and they jackhammer them out. There's actually a cooler method. And then you can pick the design, and it's actually kind of fun too when you get to see it come together. So now it's time for us to stamp this thing. Now we do have these stamps, the molds here that you picked out.
We'll have to press them into the new concrete before it dries. That'll give us the stone paver pattern.
We've got this liquid release.
What's liquid release
Well,
for?
basically, it's so that this will not stick to the concrete.
Kind of like Pam.
Yeah, it's kind of like Pam. Now, the different colors represent different patterns.
Okay. How do you know which order to go in?
As long as these are all facing the right way, then you're all good. There you go.
Where do you want me to go?
I'd say go right there with it. Right up to here. And when you walk, just be sure you will step straight down and not slide it forward. And then if it gets too hard, when we're trying to stamp the pattern, we've got the tamper over there. Perfect.
Looks great.
We're still good here. All right, so basically we just carry this whole thing on just like we're doing here. There you go.
Thanks.
So what we've got to do is we have to put down the tinting. We want to highlight the peaks and valleys and give it a nice natural look. You'd fill up your garden sprayer with water, a gallon of water, and then 1 heaping teaspoon of the tinting agent. So you want to pump it a lot because we want it to come out very fine. If it doesn't come out really fine, then you're going to have big blotches, and we don't want that.
Right.
See, it's already starting to work a little bit.
Yep.
It really highlights those ridges, and it'll darken over the next half hour too. So just because you don't see it right now doesn't mean that you want to start adding more to it.
I definitely will brag about how I did it all by myself.
I think we are looking pretty good. I'm gonna head downstairs, get with those guys, see where they are, see if they need some help, and let's just let this sit and dry for a little bit.
The color's dry on our stamped concrete, so we've got one more step.
Okay, so now we're ready to coat this thing with the sealer here, and this will seal it and also protect it. But we poured in some of the anti-slip. Basically, it gives you a lot of grip because it's gonna be pretty slick and you get out here on a wet day. Don't wanna fall. And we are good to go. Then we just let this dry for a while. You know, hopefully the rain holds off.
So while the sealer dries, we're building some new steps for the deck.
We're gonna need 5 sets of stringers, and the stringers are basically the foundation for your steps. The tread goes on top of that, the bottom piece, the piece that comes out. Got the tread that sits down on top of that. So this is where you're gonna be cutting. Always start the blade before you get to the wood.
Okay.
That way it gets up to speed. See, a lot of people might be intimidated about cutting these stringers, and you don't have to be. You can go to the hardware store and they will have pre-cut stringers for you. Tell them how many steps you need and they'll have them right there. You go home and attach them. Okay, so you like this handrail right here? Are you into it? Is it something you've always loved since you've been living here?
No.
Good, we're gonna cut it out.
Okay.
See, this thing will cut right through metal. Pop these things out. Here we go. Sweet. This thing is going away. So now our next step is to attach all these stringers. So we're gonna use these joist hangers, and our wood sits right down into it. It's called a palm nailer because you hold it in the palm of your hand, and it does all the work. In flush with the bottom of your decking. Okay, so now we have a new situation coming up.
Cold
We've
rain.
got some rain coming, so we need to go ahead and start getting this bad boy going.
I definitely got a chance to use all the power tools, and I don't think I'll be asking Chris for help anytime soon. The nail gun was a ton of fun. Done.
You got a little bit of work done. Poured some concrete, stamped some concrete, sealed some concrete, tinted some concrete, tore out a handrail, put in some steps. I'd say
I think we did more.
Well, you know, it's not a competition, but if I had to score it, I'd say maybe it was a tie.